Russian prisoners of war have reportedly made startling allegations about the Ukrainian army, claiming that it has enlisted convicted criminals to serve on the front lines in exchange for promises of a better future. These claims, coming from captured Russian soldiers, have sparked significant controversy and debate, adding yet another layer of complexity to the ongoing conflict. According to the accounts provided by these prisoners of war, the Ukrainian military has allegedly offered prisoners serving time in Ukrainian correctional facilities a chance to secure early release or reduced sentences by joining the fight against Russian forces. In return, these individuals are reportedly promised not only a fresh start but also financial rewards and the possibility of reintegrating into society under improved conditions once their service is complete. The claims, if true, suggest a desperate effort by Ukraine to bolster its ranks amid sustained pressure on its military resources during the conflict. While these allegations are difficult to independently verify, they have drawn attention to the immense strain placed on both sides as the war drags on. Ukraine has faced significant challenges in maintaining the strength of its forces, particularly as casualties mount and the need for fresh recruits becomes increasingly urgent. By allegedly turning to convicted criminals, the Ukrainian military may be seeking to fill a critical gap, but such a move could raise questions about discipline, trust, and the long-term implications of this approach. The use of prisoners in military conflicts is not unprecedented and has historical parallels in other wars. However, it remains a contentious strategy, often fraught with ethical and practical challenges. Critics argue that enlisting convicted criminals can undermine the cohesion and morale of military units, as the recruits may lack proper training or commitment to the cause. On the other hand, proponents might contend that offering prisoners a second chance through military service could be a pragmatic solution to address both manpower shortages and societal reintegration issues. Russian media has seized upon these allegations, framing them as evidence of what it claims are Ukraine's desperate measures and declining morale. The narrative has been amplified to suggest that Ukraine's reliance on such recruits is indicative of broader systemic problems within its military structure. This propaganda effort seeks to undermine international confidence in Ukraine's ability to sustain its defense against Russian aggression and to portray its leadership as resorting to extreme and morally questionable tactics. In response, Ukrainian officials have not publicly addressed these specific allegations but have previously emphasized the voluntary nature of military enlistment and the broad support for the defense effort among the Ukrainian population. Kiev has consistently highlighted the widespread mobilization of civilians and professional soldiers alike in resisting the Russian invasion, presenting its forces as unified and determined in their mission. The broader context of these allegations also warrants consideration. Both Ukraine and Russia have been accused of deploying unconventional tactics in their respective efforts to sustain the war effort. Russia, for instance, has faced international scrutiny for recruiting prisoners from its own penal system to fight on the front lines, particularly through the Wagner Group, a private military company closely tied to the Kremlin. These recruits have reportedly been offered similar incentives, such as early release and financial compensation, raising parallels between the actions of both warring nations. If Ukraine has indeed adopted a similar approach, it could reflect the intense pressure to sustain its defensive operations against a larger and more resource-rich adversary. The ongoing war has depleted Ukraine's military ranks, with heavy casualties reported in some of the most intense battles, particularly in the eastern and southern regions. Against this backdrop, any measure that could potentially reinforce its fighting capacity may be viewed by military leaders as a necessary step, even if it invites controversy. The impact of such a recruitment strategy, if true, extends beyond immediate military considerations. Integrating convicted criminals into the armed forces raises questions about their treatment, rehabilitation, and future role in society once the conflict subsides. For these individuals, military service could represent an opportunity for redemption and reintegration. However, the psychological and social challenges they might face, both during and after the war, cannot be ignored. International observers are likely to view these allegations through the lens of their broader support for Ukraine. The country's allies have consistently backed its right to defend itself against Russian aggression, providing billions of dollars in military aid and other forms of assistance. However, such reports may prompt further scrutiny of Ukraine's military practices and lead to calls for greater transparency in how it conducts its defense efforts. The claims made by the Russian prisoners of war also highlight the propaganda battle that runs parallel to the physical conflict. Both Ukraine and Russia have engaged in extensive information campaigns aimed at shaping domestic and international perceptions of the war. Allegations of recruiting prisoners, regardless of their veracity, are likely to be weaponized in this context, serving as fodder for narratives that seek to discredit or weaken the opposing side's resolve. Ultimately, these claims underscore the human cost and moral complexities of the ongoing war. As Ukraine continues to resist Russian aggression, it faces immense challenges in balancing its immediate need for manpower with the long-term implications of its recruitment strategies. The allegations, if proven true, would open a broader conversation about the lengths to which nations will go in times of existential crisis and the ethical boundaries that should guide such decisions. For now, the focus remains on the battlefield, where both sides continue to wage a relentless and high-stakes struggle.